Jones. I got a quick question.
Sure.
Mr. Dick Gregory, everybody knows who he is. Mr. Steve Coakley and Mr. Williams Peppers put out a very intense documentary on YouTube proving that Jesse Jackson and Billy Giles and some other very prominent blacks and whites were in on the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Is there any possibility from what you've been hearing, Ms. McKinney, from the inside, is Jesse Jackson ever going to be brought to any kind of justice for that?
Well, that's an excellent question. And actually, when I was in the Congress, I held an 8-hour conference on the assassination of Dr. King. And there I had Judge Joe Brown, I had William Pepper, I had Martin King III, I had Phil Melanson, who was a friend of James Earl Ray. And the story that's out there is not an accurate story. If you go to doj.gov and put in the search, the Justice Department website search MLK, you will see the story, the report that was issued under Janet Reno. And if you look at the SCLC minister, that SCLC minister is never named, but that SCLC minister is Jesse Jackson. And then there's the Memphis minister, and that Memphis minister is never named, but that actually conforms to what we now know about Reverend Billy Kiles. So there's a lot of information that needs to come out.
Absolutely, but
it will be brought to justice. Yes.
And we won't be hearing Obama at the Martin Luther King thing where he poses as Martin Luther King talking about that. And then, of course, Jesse Jackson went on to do exactly what he was told. I want to get Dick Gregory back on. He hasn't been on in a few years. He's a listener. We've got his number, or at least we did. If we don't, we'll get it from Cynthia. I want to get him back on. We just had William Pepper on about a month ago. So that's a great idea. I should get them back on. A good point, caller. Thank you for raising that point. Let's talk real quick to D in Texas. You got a quick comment. Go ahead. D, we're going to have to let you go. Do you got a point? All right. She's gone. Look, I've got all these other callers for the guest, but I'm just not going to be able to get to you. I apologize. The other callers will have to get back to you tomorrow if you can get in on the show. But just on that point, look at what Jesse Jackson then did after all those years, playing the part of playing division, the race card, to actually get different groups to dislike each other. I mean, it's just like a boxer throwing a boxing match or something.
Well, if you go to the COINTELPRO papers and specifically the church committee reports, you will see where the number 2 at the FBI focused his attention on creating a leader for black people that would be acceptable to the political elites. And that was the program that was carried out. All we have to do is go back and read, and then we'll understand what's happening now.
You know what? Give us a history lesson, because I know you were there for those hearings and testimony, and you have all the research. This is on record. Let's get you back sooner than 6 months. Come on in a few weeks or a month, and let's give a history lesson on all that.
Okay.
Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
What a great lady. We'll be back, folks, in the retransmission. Hello, I'm Alex Jones. A far-out idea, folks. A far-out idea.
So you see, people, there's only one thing left to do. We're all info warriors in our hearts, in our minds. We all want the truth. We all want justice. And if you're anything like me, we wanted Jesse Jackson to be a true, blue, legitimate civil rights champion. But if it turns out that he was just another rogue working for a government gone rogue, then guess what? It's our sworn duty as God-fearers, as lovers of freedom, as, let's just keep it simple, everyday, loving, concerned human beings, to bring these players to justice. Now, We have all the facts. She's told us where to go. It's in the Justice Department's files. There's no mystery here. But if we're going to keep acting like there is, then guess what? Our children should laugh and mock and scoff at us. Black, white, and everybody in between. Because we're all guilty of sleeping, SHLEEPLE style, on this valuable information that's been brought to us. So there's just one thing left to do. Let's demand action. Let's get this information out there. And let's get behind those, the Cynthia McKinneys, the Alex Joneses, the Judge Joe Browns, the Phil Mellons, and the late, great Steve Coakley. And last but not least, Martin III. Let's get behind them and bring Jesse Jackson, Billy Giles, and everybody else who's been a part of this cover-up. That includes the NAACP, the Urban League, the National Action Network. Everybody knows this stuff. It's no secret. So why have they been quiet? Is it because they're just paid boule? That's right. Steve Coakley bought that out as good as anybody could. Steve Coakley and Mr. Bobby Hemmett, the black boule, our black professionals, have kept this covered. The lady, Miss Cynthia McKinney, has got the courage to step up and flush this information out into the public using the great vehicle called InfoWars and the great general himself, Alex Jones, to bring it to public scrutiny. But it's up to us to finish the work, folks. I know I've gotten a little long-winded, so I'm going to cut it off right here. We need to see this thing to the end. And I was a Jesse Jackson supporter, follower, enthusiast, whatever you want to call it. But now that I know the truth, he's got to go. He's got to pay the piper. There is no statute of limitation on murder. That's right, cold-blooded murder.